What if I told you that every truly evil person, tyrants, manipulators, and deceivers, shares a single trait? A sign so subtle that most people miss it, yet so powerful that it can corrupt an entire civilization. You've seen it in history books, in toxic relationships, in ruthless leaders, and if you look closely, you might even see traces of it in yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And there is one thought that stains the soul more than any other: the rejection of self-accountability. Evil people do not take responsibility for their actions. They twist reality, shift blame, and deceive others to protect their fragile egos. And once you understand this pattern, you will never see people the same way again. The root of evil, the death of accountability. At the core of every toxic person is one fatal belief: it's never my fault. This is the mindset that breeds tyrants, con artists, and manipulators. It allows people to justify their worst behaviors, from small everyday lies to large-scale destruction. Look at history. Some of the most infamous figures, dictators, cult leaders, corporate fraudsters, share one thing in common: they never take responsibility. Dictators blame their failures on their people. Manipulators make you feel guilty for their mistakes. Narcissists twist reality so they are always the victim. The moment someone believes they are never at fault is the moment they become dangerous. Because when you reject responsibility, you can justify anything: betrayal, cruelty, even murder. As Epictetus warned, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. The more a person refuses to look inward, the more corrupt they become. The psychological truth: how evil minds work. In a powerful TEDx talk, Dr. Brené Brown explored the psychology of shame. She found that people who lack accountability also lack the ability to form genuine human connections. Why? Because they are too busy wearing masks. They manipulate, they deceive, they create illusions where they are always innocent, always righteous, always the victim. You see this pattern in the boss who blames employees for his own failures, the friend who never apologizes but always makes excuses, the partner who gaslights you into thinking you're the problem. These people are not just avoiding guilt, they are avoiding growth. The Stoic perspective: strength through responsibility. So what is the opposite of this? Radical accountability. True power comes from owning your actions, your mistakes, and your flaws. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Evil people weaponize this. They plant fear, doubt, and guilt in others to keep themselves untouchable. But the strongest people in history did the opposite. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself of his own flaws. Nelson Mandela took responsibility even for the suffering of his people. Miyamoto Musashi lived by the rule: do not seek to blame others. Imagine a world where leaders take responsibility instead of shifting blame. Relationships are built on honesty, not manipulation. People stop making excuses and start mastering themselves. This is the path of the philosopher warrior. The hidden test: do you have this sign? Most people assume evil is something external, a villain in a movie, a historical monster. But the reality is, evil starts small. It starts in everyday excuses, small manipulations, tiny moments of blaming others instead of taking ownership. Ask yourself, when things go wrong, do I look for someone to blame first? Do I manipulate the truth to protect my ego? Do I fear admitting my mistakes more than making them? If you answered yes, even once good, that means you are aware, and awareness is power. Because the moment you stop lying to yourself is the moment you stop walking the path of destruction. The greatest evil isn't just found in history books or crime documentaries. It isn't just in the dictators, warlords, and corporate fraudsters we love to condemn. No, evil is born in the small, everyday decisions we make. It starts in tiny moments. When you tell a lie to protect your ego, when you blame others instead of taking responsibility, when you manipulate facts to make yourself look better. At first, these seem like harmless choices, a little excuse here, a small deflection there, but over time, they form a habit, a character, a destiny. This is how corruption begins, not with a single monstrous act but with countless small self-serving ones. The repeating cycle of the unaccountable mind. Blame others instead of owning mistakes, shift responsibility. Rewrite reality, twist facts to avoid discomfort. Justify wrongdoings and convince yourself it was necessary. Become blind to truth and lose the ability to self-reflect. This is how people become toxic. This is how relationships, families, businesses, and entire nations fall apart. But there is another path, a harder path, a warrior's path, the path of the Stoic, owning your fate. Own your flaws instead of hiding them. Take responsibility instead of making excuses. Face hard truths instead of running from them. This is the road of strength, of wisdom, of true power. Seneca once wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." That is what self-accountability gives you, power over yourself. The ability to shape your life rather than be a victim of it. Every day you make a choice. Blame others or improve yourself. Excuse your flaws or fix them. Run from the truth or face it like a warrior. One path leads to weakness. The other leads to greatness. Which one will you choose? If you truly want to be different, if you truly want to escape the path of mediocrity and manipulation, then here's my challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, take full responsibility for everything in your life. No excuses. No blaming. No deflections. When faced with a problem, ask, what is my role in this? Did you really have no control? Could you have handled things better? What can you learn from this? Call out your own lies. When you catch yourself making an excuse, stop. Admit the truth even if it stings. This is how real change begins. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because the world doesn't need more victims. It needs more warriors of truth.